The proposal for an immediate increase in monthly Social Security benefits has resurfaced, bringing with it a renewed debate about the adequacy of payments in the current economic climate. The central idea is a raise of $200 for every beneficiary, a measure pitched not as a future possibility, but as an urgent necessity for the present moment. This is not a new concept, having been introduced in various legislative forms in recent years, most notably in a piece of legislation titled the Emergency Social Security Inflation Relief Act, which saw multiple introductions in the previous calendar year. The persistence of this proposal suggests a determined effort to keep the issue at the forefront of political discourse, signaling that its proponents are deeply serious about advancing the conversation, if not the policy itself. The argument for this increase hinges on a clear and present challenge: the soaring cost of living that is eroding the financial stability of those who depend on their monthly benefit checks. The fundamental claim is that the annual cost of living adjustments are failing in their core purpose. These adjustments, according to the argument, are inherently delayed and inadequate, acting as a mechanical response that arrives long after inflation has already inflicted damage on household budgets. The mechanism itself is a point of contention. The adjustment is calculated based on inflation data from a specific 3-month period in the prior year, which is then applied to benefits many months later. This delay means beneficiaries are perpetually trying to catch up to price increases that have already occurred and often continued to climb, a system that fundamentally struggles to preserve purchasing power. Indeed, a striking statistic underscores this erosion. Over the past 15 years, the real value of Social Security benefits has reportedly declined by a staggering 20%. This means that what $100 in benefits could purchase a decade and a half ago now requires $120 to buy the same basket of goods and services. This silent reduction in buying power is the quiet crisis behind the slightly higher monthly check amounts. For beneficiaries, this translates into difficult choices between essentials, as the costs of groceries, utilities, housing, and particularly healthcare outpace the incremental increases in their income. The critical importance of these benefits is highlighted by the sheer number of people for whom they constitute a financial lifeline. It is estimated that for half of all recipients, Social Security provides at least half of their total monthly income. Even more telling, for 1 out of every 4 beneficiaries, that monthly check represents their sole source of income. There is no pension, no substantial savings to draw upon, no secondary income stream to soften the blow of rising prices. For this population, the monthly benefit is not a supplement. It is the foundation upon which their entire livelihood is built. Any decline in its real value is not an inconvenience, but a direct threat to their ability to afford basic necessities. The proposed $200 monthly raise is framed as a direct antidote to this erosion. Proponents emphasize that this increase would be applied broadly, encompassing retirees, individuals with disabilities, and those receiving supplemental security income. The legislative vehicle for this idea envisioned the raise taking effect immediately, providing extra support for a period of 6 months. This time frame underscores the emergency framing of the relief, aimed at offering a buffer during a period of particular economic strain. The total additional support over that half-year period would amount to $1,200 per beneficiary, a sum that could meaningfully impact a tight budget, potentially covering several weeks of groceries, a portion of utility bills, or necessary medications. However, this very structure also invites practical questions. While the immediate infusion of funds would undoubtedly be welcomed, a temporary 6-month raise presents its own set of challenges. Household budgets tend to adapt to incoming resources. An extra $200 per month, if received for half a year, could become integrated into a person's financial planning, used to cover persistent expenses. If that increase then abruptly ended, It could create a new financial cliff, leaving beneficiaries to suddenly manage a shortfall they had grown accustomed to covering. This potential downside highlights a tension within the proposal: the need for immediate relief versus the risk of instability when that relief is designed to be temporary. This leads to a broader discussion about the design of such support. An alternative approach could involve more targeted measures. Rather than a uniform $200 for every beneficiary, regardless of their total income or financial need, the increase could be scaled or directed specifically toward those with the lowest benefits and the fewest other resources. For a beneficiary whose Social Security is their only income, an extra $200 could be transformative, possibly preventing hardship. For another beneficiary with substantial pension or investment income, the same amount, while helpful, may not be as critical for basic survival. A more refined, income-sensitive approach could potentially direct greater resources to those in the most precarious situations, while also addressing concerns about the overall cost of the program. The political pathway for any such increase is formidable. Transforming a proposal into law requires navigating a complex legislative process in a deeply divided political environment. A monthly increase of $200 for tens of millions of beneficiaries represents a significant and recurring federal expenditure, costing billions of dollars over even a short period. Proponents of the measure argue the cost can be offset through other means, such as adjustments to tax policy focused on high earners or corporations, but those proposals are themselves subjects of intense debate. The reality is that the legislative calendar moves slowly, and proposals for substantial new spending face significant hurdles, requiring consensus that is often difficult to achieve. While the advocacy keeps the issue visible and applies pressure, the distance between a bill's introduction and its enactment can be vast. Ultimately, the renewed discussion serves a crucial purpose. It reaffirms a pressing and ongoing problem. The conversation about the $200 raise is, at its heart, a conversation about the adequacy of a cornerstone social program. It highlights the growing gap between static incomes and dynamic costs, a gap felt acutely by those who can least afford to bridge it. Whether this specific proposal gains legislative traction remains uncertain. The political and fiscal challenges are substantial, yet the persistent return of the idea underscores a fundamental and undeniable truth recognized by millions of Americans: the current trajectory, where purchasing power quietly diminishes year after year, is unsustainable. The debate over solutions, in whatever form they may eventually take, is a necessary one, ensuring that the financial security of the most vulnerable remains a subject of urgent public concern.